Hey guys, so today we're going to be talking about some brand new things from Guerlain. They have kind of revamped their Parure Gold line, and I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly at all, but I purchased a few of the things from Selfridges, and it just came in yesterday, so I thought I would do a full day wear test because we're talking about a foundation, a setting powder, and a setting mist. So we're going to be putting all these things through a full day wear test. Guerlain is celebrating an anniversary of this line. You know what? How do you pronounce it? Hold on. One moment, please.
Parure.
So Guerlain is celebrating an anniversary of this Parure gold line, and so they've redone their foundation, which I have here, and I think they've added a setting mist. I also got the setting powder, and there's also a cushion foundation, which I did not see on the Selfridges site, but when that comes out, if any of you guys are interested in a full day wear test for that, let me know down below in the comment section or give this video a thumbs up, just something to let me know. And part of this line is the Lure Primer, which I already have. We're going to be using all these things today. Let me just tell you what foundation shade I have first. I purchased 12 Light Rosy, and I was going to go for some completely different color just by the name, but when I looked at the swatches on Selfridges, they just didn't look quite right. All of the quote-unquote like cooler tone names looked neutral in the swatches, and I think I chose correctly. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start by applying the Lure Primer, and I really like this primer. I received this actually from Guerlain maybe last year sometime through Octoly, and I was so excited to try it out. I think Tati is someone that kind of made this one very, very popular, but it's a very lightweight, as you can probably tell by the looks of it. It is a very lightweight kind of primer, but this is a great primer, and now that I'm using it, it's a great primer for the summertime because it's not heavy, and it really does kind of smooth out your skin, and it makes for a really great canvas for makeup application. It leaves a little bit of tackiness on the skin, but not too much. You know, nothing like the Sisley Double Tensor that I feel like really sucks makeup to it. This is like a lighter version of that. And today is actually going to be a really good day to wear test because I actually have to go out and run quite a few errands. I feel like I talk about this incessantly, but I am leaving for New York on Saturday, so I just have a lot of stuff to do, and I don't know when this video is going to go up. This may go up while I'm in New York. Anyway, let's go ahead and dig into the foundation. So again, this foundation is like a newly reformulated version of their existing gold foundation, and again, I have it in the shade 12, Light Rosy, and I believe the previous bottle was black, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was black, but now they've kind of, you know, amped it up and made it look gold. And the size of it, I think it's the same. Yeah, it's the same as the Lure bottle. So that's very nice. That looks lovely. It has a pump dispenser, and let me just pump some out so you can see the shade. So that is Light Rosy. I feel like there's a very slight bit of fragrance, but nothing overwhelming. Again, for Guerlain being a perfume house, or the oldest perfume house, you would think it would be very, very fragrance, but it really isn't. It's very, very light. Oh, I see fragrance on here. It's probably in the middle here. All right, so just a quick word about this foundation. I'm just reading off of the Selfridges site. It's precious double-sided pigments combined with a collagen-boosting active ingredient bathes your face in a rejuvenating light, caressed by a texture of pure pleasure. Whoever their copywriter is, I hope they're paid handsomely. Day after day, the skin regains the radiant beauty and vitality of youth. Naturally smooth and even, the complexion is illuminated and glowing. Luminous and ultra-natural, the 12 shades of the range diminish the signs of time and fatigue. Okay. It says apply over primer using a foundation brush or sponge. Oh, awesome. I feel like this has oxidized a bit since it has been sitting on my hand. So I want to say the undertone to this is actually very peachy versus rosy. Rosy to me is cool toned, and this to me is a little bit on the warmer side. So maybe keep that in mind when you're if you end up ordering this foundation. I feel like it oxidizes a little bit, at least on my skin, and I think they lean a little bit warmer. All right, I'm going to pump out a little bit more here and dot it all over my face. And I'm going to apply it to this half of my face so we can check out the coverage and the color and all that good stuff. I've got my favorite foundation brush here. This is the Sonia G Base 1 brush. The texture of this foundation is very nice. It's creamy. It's not very runny. It's not very watery, which I prefer. And the coverage is quite lovely. It is definitely like a light medium, kind of leaning towards medium. I don't know if I'd go so far as to say medium, but it does seem to be evening out my skin tone a bit there. And I feel like if I was having a good day, that maybe I wouldn't need concealer. So maybe this is a medium. Maybe this is more of a medium coverage, which I think is very nice. There's a little bit of radiance there. It's a really nice kind of like natural skin-like finish. I'm just gonna sit here for a couple minutes and see if it oxidizes on my face the way I feel like it has oxidized on my hand. All right, I've been sitting here several minutes, and I don't feel like it's changed quite as much as it has on my hand. Do you see how like peachy it got on my hand? And on my face, I think it actually looks okay. There is titanium dioxide in here, which, as I understand it, is the ingredient that will sometimes oxidize and kind of change colors. So it's a little bit further down on the list though. So maybe that's what explains the slight kind of warm tinge I see, but not too much. I don't think it's problematic. I don't feel like you need to go a shade down or anything like that. But anyway, that is the foundation on this side of my face. So far, I'm really enjoying it. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up on this side, and I'll be right back. All right, so there it is all over my skin. I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna turn the exposure down a little bit and then zoom you in, and we'll go from like top to bottom. All right, so now that I've turned the exposure down, you can probably get a little bit of a better sense of how this looks on my skin. So let's do like a close-up scan from my forehead down. And for those of you who may be new to my channel, and for those of you who aren't, I'm sorry, this is very, very repetitive, but I had some very bad eczema on my face, and it's left like scarring along my forehead, and sometimes like foundations, it doesn't like stick properly to that skin, but this seems to be doing a pretty good job. And then sometimes I'll see it kind of pick up on, you know, like weird texture patches that I have like between my eyebrows and tip of my nose, but I feel like this one has not done that, which is also great. And then right around my mouth area, I feel like foundations will often look a little cakey, but this one also has done a really nice job. All right, so far I'm very, very happy with this. I like the finish, I like the coverage, I like the way it feels on my skin. It doesn't feel like much, actually. It feels very, very weightless. It doesn't feel heavy at all. And so for my full day wear tests, especially when I'm doing a foundation test, I don't really like to add any more coverage, especially like concealer or anything, because I really want to see how this foundation kind of just wears by itself. So we're going to forego the concealer step. So let's just jump into this setting powder. So they've also released a new setting powder. It's called the Gold Radiance Powder. It's supposed to mattify and illuminate. So we'll see what that means, but this is a really beautiful powder. And when I opened up the box from Selfridges, I smelled what I thought was meteorites, and I got really, really excited. So there is a fragrance to this powder, and it smells like the meteorites to me. I'm trying to figure out if maybe there's like a little bit of a twist to it. Maybe something a little bit more perfumey, less floral. I don't know if that makes any sense at all. But it smells very, very similar to the meteorites, and if you're a fan of that fragrance like I am, I think you'll really like this. So this is what the compact looks like. Gold finish. Nothing too crazy. It doesn't feel like exceptionally luxurious or whatever. It doesn't feel that cheap either. And it has this little button to press so that you can raise the lid, and then there's the powder on the inside. Isn't that fun? It's faceted, and then there's a little spot in here that has like a kind of micro glittery gold shade. I'm feeling the white is to mattify and this is to illuminate. All right, I have my Chikuhodo Z1 brush, and I'm just gonna dip it right into the pan here. I'm gonna make sure that I get both the white and the gold. Not that that's hard to do. This isn't an especially large pan or anything. And I'm gonna start around my eyes and work down. Just gonna pat this powder in first, and then I'm gonna sweep to kind of get rid of any excess. And again, I'm just applying it to this half of my face so that we can see if there's any difference. Okay, the first thing I noticed is that there are little teeny like gold flecks in the powder that I see. Nothing, it's not like it's all over. I don't feel like there's a glitter bomb on my face, but I see like one here, I see one here, I see a couple on the side of my nose. So that is definitely that little gold bit in the pan. I see a couple more on my forehead there. Let's see if those brush away if I kind of keep sweeping. No, they're kind of there to stay. It did definitely mattify my face if you look at it between the two halves. It definitely is very translucent. I don't feel like it changed the color of my foundation at all. I think what I really like about this powder is that it's really, really light. It is like undetectable on the skin. There's a lot of powders that I don't like because they start to look very thick very quickly, and this doesn't seem to be the case with this powder. It's very, very light. It's very, very sheer, and I feel a little bit of tackiness with the foundation still, so I'm going to add a little bit more powder right over here. My experience with this powder is similar to the Charlotte Tilbury. Because they're both so light, I don't feel like I can overdo it with this powder, which is nice, but I do find myself using a little bit more of this powder to get the foundation to like fully set, to get my face to feel like it's not tacky anymore. But thankfully, I don't feel like it looks very thick on my skin. Like I feel like I could use a lot of this powder and it would still be undetectable on my skin. It just has a really, really nice, light, airy feel to it. So I'm gonna leave this side of my face unpowdered. I know many of you ask me all the time, you know, when you do foundation tests, can you not powder? I don't generally powder, I have dry skin, etc., etc. So we've got one half of my face powdered, we have the other half of my face unpowdered. We're gonna go about my day this way. I'm debating whether or not I want to put on like the rest of my makeup or if we just want to do this. I think I need to put on the rest of my makeup. I think I look kind of weird. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna think about the setting mist. I'm gonna think about how I can apply this without ruining the test. Maybe we'll hold off on the setting mist for another day. Maybe we'll just test the foundation and the powder, because I don't, you know what I mean? Like this is gonna make it apparently, or hopefully, like last longer or give it a different finish or whatever. And I really don't want to like mess with the finish of the powder and the foundation. So maybe we'll save this for another day, but I'm going to go ahead, finish up the rest of my makeup. And then what I'll do is come back maybe early afternoon, mid-afternoon, and do like a first check-in. We'll see where everything is at. If I need to powder at that point, we'll do that. And then I'll be back at the end of the day. So I will see you very soon. All right, guys, I am here to do my first check-in. It's about 2:15 in the afternoon, and as I just said that, I'm realizing I don't think I mentioned what time I started this morning. I apologize. I started my video at about 9, so I want to say I probably got the foundation onto my skin at about 9:15. Well, that makes it easy. It's 2:15. We started at 9:15, so it's been about 5 hours. Let's just go with that. It's been about 5 hours. And let me just tell you what I ended up putting on my face since I didn't come back after I kind of finished up my makeup. So I have eyeshadow, eyeliner, mascara down. I have some brow gel in. I have a cream blush on, and I have some lipstick. So I didn't put on any bronzer. I didn't put on any additional powder. I only set, remember, this side of my face. I didn't put on any concealer or anything like that. No highlighter, anything like that. The only cheek product I have is blush. And I have been out kind of all morning. So I've been running around a bit, not really like running out in this heat too much, but just running a lot of errands in my car, which is more activity than usual. And I think what I'm noticing, which is so fascinating to me, actually, I'm going to turn the exposure down again. Hang on one second. Maybe you can see my skin better this way. So I don't see that much of a difference between the unpowdered and the powdered side, aside from the gold flecks. So I see the gold flecks on my skin from the powder on this side of my face, but on this side of my face where I don't have powder, I don't think my skin looks that much different. So far after 5 hours, I would say this foundation is probably pretty good for all skin types. Again, I have pretty dry skin, so if a foundation for me starts to look kind of radiant without any powder, it's something I would probably tell like oily skin people to either stay away from or just kind of be careful or make sure you have some powder on hand. But I don't really see any oils breaking through, which again, I find very, very interesting. Don't both sides of my face look kind of similar? This side looks just a little bit more matte from that powder. Like I had mentioned when I first applied it, the powder is very, very light, but I think it's doing a good job because I feel like both sides of my face look the same as when I started this morning. And other than that, I feel like this check-in is pretty uneventful. I don't think that I'm noticing it sinking into fine lines. I don't think it's doing anything weird. It's not breaking up. It's not caking up. I'm gonna do a close-up again and we'll pan down from my forehead down to my chin. What I am noticing is my mascara is flaking. So I think it's time maybe to let my mascara go. But I'm wearing the Tom Ford Lash Raise mascara, which has been my favorite for the past few months. And I'm a little disappointed that it hasn't lasted longer. I like the Extreme Mascara Tom Ford because that mascara lasts forever. But this video is about not that. So anyway, just wanted to mention that in case you see any mascara flakes on my face. I feel like the coverage is there. The lines under my eyes don't look any more emphasized than they did this morning. And at that point, I thought it looked pretty good. So far, I'm really, really impressed with this foundation. It's only been 5 hours, so I will be back probably at around the 8-hour mark, probably around 5:15, 5:30, and I will give you a final look and share with you my final thoughts on this foundation and powder. So I'll see you then. Hey guys, it's about 5:30 right now, so I've had this makeup on for more than 8 hours now. I was just inspecting my face and I am noticing that the side that is not powdered, so this is the side that's powdered and then this is the side that's not powdered. This side is definitely, I think you guys can see, this side is definitely starting to look a little bit more glowy than the powdered side. So the powder definitely is helping to kind of absorb any oils, kind of dampen any shine. And this is starting to look a little bit shiny right here, even the tip of my nose. I don't know if you guys can see that. Tip of my nose is looking a little bit more shiny than my previous check-in. So for a foundation that has not been powdered down, and I have been pretty active today, I definitely have like broken a sweat because I've been running some crazy errands today. I think this is pretty darn good for just foundation. I think all you need to do is just simply powder it, and I think you're good to go. Again, I have a really dry skin type. So if you're oily, I'm assuming that, you know, you'll powder to set it down and then maybe you'll need to powder to sort of midday. So I'm really, really happy with its performance. I'm gonna go ahead and do some close-ups now. I'll pan down from my forehead down to my chin. I don't see any kind of like breaking up or any weirdness, but I do feel like it has sort of faded a little bit around the tip of my nose. That is generally what happens. I'm not too surprised. And then I feel like right under my lip here, and this is probably just from eating, I feel like it looks a little bit like something has gone on here. I don't feel like it looks broken up. Doesn't necessarily feel cakey. It looks like it's worn off a little bit, basically. It looks like right around my lips, it's just kind of like worn off a bit. So I don't think this looks too bad. And I think I can only notice it because I'm really like looking up close and just really inspecting my skin. But other than that, I feel like this foundation looks really, really great. I am very, very impressed with this foundation. This foundation does have alcohol in it. It is the third ingredient. So I've been running around today because there's a lot of people actually in town for Cosmoprof, which is a huge like beauty convention here. It's like a B2B convention here. So I didn't actually attend, but some of my friends are here and I asked some experts about alcohol. And so they basically agreed with what I kind of got online, that when an ingredient is listed as just plain old alcohol, that's the bad alcohol. It is the alcohol that is very drying to your skin. It's the alcohol that's going to break down the barrier of your skin. And it's really not recommended to be used on your skin, especially if you have dry skin or if you have eczema or rosacea. All the other alcohols will be specified. It'll say like cetyl alcohol, and that's the kind of alcohol that is used to help like bind ingredients together, and those are the alcohols that are not damaging to your skin. So just straight up alcohol is generally used for like a quick set down. So it really just helps the foundation set down on your skin, and it may be something that they add to kind of thin out the foundation, but that's really it. So I just wanted to mention that. Let's have a nice discussion down below in the comment section. But what I wanted to emphasize is that I am doing this full day wear test for you guys because I know many of you are just curious about this foundation, and I wanted to do this test for you. And I do really, really enjoy this foundation. I do think it looks great on the skin. I think I got a great shade. I think it looks wonderful, all those things. But for me personally, I'm not going to be using this foundation very often. So I don't want you to think that because it doesn't show up in my favorites or something down the road, that this is a foundation that I've either changed my mind about or that I hate all of a sudden. It's just going to be a foundation that I'm not going to use often. I feel the same way about the Pat McGrath foundation. Unfortunately, that's just going to be the case. That I think it looks great on the skin. I may use it every once in a while, but it's definitely not going to be like a favorite of mine because it's just not going to be like in my daily rotation. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this full day wear test of this new Guerlain Parure Gold foundation along with the setting powder. And let me know if you have any questions down below in the comment section. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.